9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Happy Friday, everybody. This is your WWT PR Princess. All the things you need to know about all things elite. You can call me Stone Cold Courtney, whatever you want to call me. My name is Courtney, and I'm here with all of you on this wonderful Friday. And of course, we have Elimination Chamber happening, but it has been a busy, busy week. A lot of us have been scattered. We've been doing other priorities, but I'm not doing this alone. And it's so ironic. I started off the week having the keys, and what better way to end it, because it is still ladies' night, and I am not alone. I do have a very, very special guest. She is one of the hosts from the Square Circle podcast, and she's joining us, Marie Shadows. Thank you for joining. Happy Friday.
Of course. Happy Friday. Thank you for having me, Courtney.
Of course. I mean, it's really happy to have you on this Friday, because it's just been a very busy week in the wrestling world.
It has.
But, you know, we got Elimination Chamber tomorrow. So are you excited? Because I think there's going to be a lot happening in Toronto.
There is. I'm more excited about The Rock and Cody and how that's going to unfold. I have some theories.
Oh, well, we will talk about those theories because we are doing our bold predictions for the Elimination Chamber. But just to get it out the way, especially for our producer, we're going to kick things off with SmackDown, because SmackDown is tonight. It's 3 hours from Toronto, Canada. And usually my sister Honey would be doing watch along, but I'm pulling double duty where I will be doing a watch along after this is over. But just to give you a quick run through on SmackDown, and also an announcement that we got from General Manager Nick Aldis, there will be a #1 contenders tournament to challenge for the United States Championship. We have Andrade versus Solo Sikoa, Carmelo Hayes versus Braun Strowman, LA Knight versus Santos Escobar, and the winners of those respective matches will face off in a triple threat match later in the night to become the #1 contender. Of course, we have Canada's own Chelsea Green, the Women's United States Champion. She will be taking on a mystery opponent on behalf of Nick Aldis. And we're also, of course, going to have Trish Stratus appearing tonight, obviously, because she's from Toronto and ahead of her match teaming up with Tiffany Stratton to take on Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. And we're also going to hear from the WWE Champion, Cody Rhodes. So there is a lot happening. And Marie, I just want to get your thoughts in regards to this United States tournament match, and who do you got walking away as #1 contender?
I was going to ask if we have the graphic for the United States match. Let's see. Who's going to walk away from it? Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
Because I really don't want. LA Knight had it last. Shinsuke is the champion and whatnot. Who is he gonna have again?
So it's gonna be, let's see. Yeah, because they messed up for SmackDown, but they kind of rearranged it with Nick Aldis, so it's gonna be a triple threat. So they had to do rearranging. So it's gonna be Andrade versus Solo Sikoa, Carmelo Hayes versus Braun Strowman, and LA Knight versus Santos Escobar.
Ooh, you know what? It would be really nice to have Carmelo Hayes hold the U.S. title, so for him to get the #1 contender spot, just because I want to see how he does with a U.S. title on the main roster. On NXT, I enjoyed his NXT run as champion, so I want to see what he can do on the main roster and what kind of stories he could create. Everyone else that was mentioned, I love them all equally. But I just think that with the way that Carmelo goes ahead and makes little tiny stories with everyone that he interacts with, it's a little fun. It's a little different. It's a little fresh. So I would definitely want Carmelo Hayes to win the whole thing and challenge Shinsuke, and let's see what kind of magic they could create.
Yeah, Carmelo Hayes has been somebody that's been an eye popper on SmackDown since he was drafted. And for him, I think it was very interesting for him to have matches with so many superstars like Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Braun Strowman. He's had so many. And it is time for him to get a taste of singles gold. So I wouldn't mind seeing Carmelo Hayes be a number one contender. I love all of them, but it would be nice to see.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, Cody Rhodes is supposed to make an appearance ahead of his favor from The Rock. So I don't know what the champ has in mind. We shall see, but we're we're going to talk about that later on. Predictions for Elimination Chamber. But we just wanted to give you a quick preview of SmackDown. It'll be on USA tonight at 8 p.m. Your PR princess will be filling in for my sister Honey for the watch along on SmackDown, so you do not want to miss it, coming to you from Toronto, Canada. And I did see a lot of people in the chat, so I definitely want to say happy Friday to, of course, Sindel. Ladies Night. Ladies Night is indeed Boza, Eric Isaac. Thank you for joining us. Also, Hassan Tahir's show. And they know you, Marie.
Yeah, yep. I haven't been here in a while, but they remember.
I know. Aaron Teagle, Special Little Nobodies. Thank you guys for joining on this wonderful Friday evening. But since we're on the topic of SmackDown, there was an interesting story that actually popped up earlier today where people in the WWE dislike the 3-hour format of SmackDown and think quality of the show dipped, as Triple H shared on the Pat McAfee show that the show will be returning to 2 hours in June. It'll be turned as a 2-hour. But during the latest episode of Russell Votes Radio on Sportskeeda's Backstage Pass Patron, several people in the company noted that the show's product has suffered going to 3 hours and that they disliked the format. We are told several within the company strongly dislike the 3-hour SmackDown format, as those sources feel like the quality of the show has dipped in the last 2 months. Prior to the expansion, there was optimism and belief that some underutilized talent would be able to shine, considering the extra hour. However, that has not come to fruition as of yet. SmackDown is still scheduled to return to 2 hours come this June. And Maria, I just want to get your thoughts on this regarding the 3 hours. And do you feel like SmackDown is delivering the 3-hour quality on Raw? Raw. SmackDown lately.
So I'm 50-50 with this, right? So the first time that I sat down to watch the 3-hour SmackDown, I was like, oh my God, it's 3 hours. Like, we're not done yet. I'm used to 2 hours. The good side about it is that the matches end up being a little bit longer, so you can showcase more women's wrestling and see what they can do. You can definitely showcase a lot more segments if you want to. But I don't think 3 hours works for a SmackDown. Like, even just saying that and having that just come right out, it's like, 3 hours? Nah, maybe 2.5. I'll be happy with 2.5. The same way that Raw is like 2.5 hours, I'll be happy with that. But let's not make it 3. Let's not make it 3.
I think it's really hard to do 3 hours because remember when Raw was first 3 hours, and at first we were just getting very we were excited that a lot of superstars are getting exposures, but at the same time, it started getting a little bit repetitive. Because you kept using the same superstars in the main event, and you weren't utilizing your tag team division, you weren't utilizing your women's division, you weren't recurring storylines that were outside of the title picture. So I think SmackDown, at first I did enjoy it because we're now seeing some stars that we're not used to seeing on a weekly basis. Like we're seeing Pretty Deadly, we're seeing Candice LeRae getting some opportunity, we're seeing Los Garza finally get some opportunity airtime within the SmackDown. So that's something to really think about, but I just hope they do learn some of the lessons in the creative side because there are some superstars that they can capitalize on. But I like it 2 hours because at least there is something here and there. It's just executed properly and making sure that you build some storylines that don't involve some of the major titles. And also seeing some of the mid-card title shine, such as the women's
Yeah,
United
yeah,
States
yeah.
title, the women and men's United States titles, and along with the tag team division on SmackDown.
And also the women's intercontinental championship title too, because I was hoping to see like a lot more stuff done with that one, but sometimes I understand creative where like you can't like showcase everybody, so someone has to take a segment and then someone has to take like a match opportunity and stuff like that. So it's like, if you just roll the dice, it's like that kind of thing. But either way, like I would still like to see more stuff utilized, more stories. Obviously, that doesn't involve like titles and whatnot, so we could just get emotionally involved. Because essentially, wrestling is supposed to like sweep us away and be like, "Oh my God, let's focus on the story and the kayfabe and let's get emotional with it."
Yeah, so that's something they'll figure out on SmackDown. So hopefully they can figure out within the 3 hours and kind of get some exposures. But yes, definitely with Lyra Valkyria. But I think it's starting to heat up a bit because we finally get to see Ivy Nile in the title picture because that's starting to brew up a bit. So I'm hoping that's executed properly. But as a friendly reminder, SmackDown will be in 2 hours come this summer. And we're still it is a good thing. So we're back. We're still back on the SmackDown topic, but of course, is a guy we have not seen in a while, and that is the Tribal Chief himself, Roman Reigns. And this actually popped up today, where Roman Reigns' reaction to a post saying, "If you don't love me at my big dog, then you don't deserve me at my Tribal Chief. There is no big dog. He's dead now. I don't even see the other guy. Doesn't even exist. Didn't happen." So that was really interesting to talk about because like I said, we haven't seen Roman in a while, and just really interesting for him to say that, considering people actually liked him as a Tribal Chief, and he's had a lot of mixed feelings when he was a big dog. So Marie, I just want to get your thoughts.
That is true. I had to think about that for a moment. The way you put it that way, I was like, yeah. I saw this clip like very slightly and whatnot. Roman is not wrong. I mean, the reason why he'll probably say that is because at that time, him being the big dog, that was like Vince's vision, and it just like wasn't really working to try to make him the star that he is today. And then once he got over that, he became the Tribal Chief. I'm just gonna say that I really didn't like the Tribal Chief kind of story arc era, but I do appreciate like the bloodline, the Tribal Chief, like all of that stuff. I just didn't really like him as Tribal Chief. It was just like, whatever. But after the fact, after he lost the belt and everything, I'm like, okay, I can see the bigger picture now. I think he's right though, that like, that big dog persona was just like not something that he enjoyed, not something that he loved. You could tell when he's the Tribal Chief that's like his most comfortableness of like watching him in the ring with everybody else.
Yeah, indeed. I will say the first time I saw Roman as a big dog, it was SummerSlam, and he was against Brock Lesnar, and it was at Barclays Center. And I can tell you how many. It was literally go away heat for both of them, and I kid you not, it was literally go away heat in Brooklyn, New York. So it was very crazy, and also seeing him evolve because him doing during the pandemic. And I will say this: if it wasn't for the wise man Paul Heyman, you would not got the Tribal Chief. So
that's true too.
You got to owe a lot of depth into Paul Heyman, and also really kind of owning that run when he was champion. Because like him or hate him, you just can't discredit the reign that he's done and the impact he's made, and also, of course, the memorable. Who can forget this memorable promo?
Can't no man knock me out. I'm tired of being humble. I'm tired of letting people think they got a chance. The Tribal Chief is head and shoulders above everybody. This is my show. This is my camera. I run it all.
And we also do have a few people on our panel that love the Tribal Chief.
Yeah.
they love him.
I know they do.
Yes, but definitely appreciate Roman for what he said. But he is going to be coming back soon on the road to WrestleMania, facing off against Seth Rollins.
That's gonna be something.
Indeed, that will be something, because it's just a matter of time when Roman Reigns will come back, and we go from the Tribal Chief to the $1 billion princess, Stephanie McMahon. And if you recall, a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago from our show, we mentioned that she's actually going to do a show on ESPN.
Mhm.
Now she's doing a podcast, a WWE focused podcast that is launching soon. And it's going to be interesting seeing this because we don't know the whole story of it. They just made the announcement today, and
Mhm.
we're kind of curious on what guests she's gonna have, what topic she's gonna do. So, Marie, I just want to get your thoughts on this on Stephanie, because at first she's doing a show on ESPN, and now she's doing a podcast, and just figuring out like what topics is she gonna talk about in this new upcoming podcast.
First of all, I love Stephanie, so like I will be seated for like whatever she puts out, whether that's going to be on ESPN or like her own podcast. There's going to be some really interesting stories that like only she knows. And this will just be like an audio format, video format as well. And then maybe later it'll turn into a book for like extra content. Definitely would love to see who she's going to have as guests, because she's worked with everybody. She's been there ever since. So she has like all of this like knowledge and years that I am just willing to like listen, learn, probably comment on, who knows. But yeah, I'm excited to see what, she makes out there.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Stephanie to venture in this, especially getting to see this side of her, because we normally see her as like this heel, upscale person, but it's nice that she's taking a step back. And also, since this is, of course, is a WWE forward podcast, I'm very curious on what superstar she's going to have. If she's going to have any legends on there, if she's going to have anybody from the creative side, backstage people.
Yeah, that's true.
People who do like the costumes, the makeup, everything. So
I'm just gonna guess that like Austin is definitely gonna have to make an appearance. Yes. Undertaker definitely has to make an appearance, because imagine that conversation about like, Stephanie, I'm so sorry I had to put you on the cross. Oh, it's okay. Sorry, I had to scare you in the limo. It's okay. Like, and we're gonna see some stuff like that. Like Taker, Austin would have to be on there. It would be cool if she got like $1 Million Man, just to talk some interesting stories. She could also invite Lexus King as well too, to talk about like, his father and how much like he meant to the company and stuff like that, and like whatever stories that she has or whatever. Like, it'd be a very nice like podcast. Like, I can't wait for it. There's so many guests.
I would love for John Cena to be on that podcast, only because Stephanie was general manager of SmackDown when he first came on the scene. And seeing some of the stories that they had and seeing her like when John was only a rookie. And just seeing like how he's grown from during her tenure as general manager for SmackDown, because he was starting to get popular when she was the general manager still. So it's just really curious to see stories like from John, Rey Mysterio when he was on SmackDown as well. Kurt Angle. Oh my God, Kurt Angle would be a funny one.
It would be. It's just going to be really, really fun. We're going to learn a lot. We're definitely going to learn a lot.
Yeah, indeed. We're definitely going to learn a lot from Stephanie McMahon. I definitely am excited. She's taking on all these venture opportunities, and we will be curious to see who her guests are. So I'm very excited to see that. So kudos to the $1 Billion Princess. So we just wanted to tackle this because not only Elimination Chamber had their press conference earlier today, but we also found out TKO had a little bit of a media day today. Their CFO stated that they expect to hold 3 pay-per-views in Saudi Arabia in 2026. We already know one of the pay-per-views in 2026 is the Royal Rumble. We do not know what other 2 are going to be in there. So, Marie, I just want to get your thoughts on this whole partnership. I was just curious, have you been following this partnership with WWE and Saudi Arabia, and just your thoughts on this latest announcement? Also with Saudi Arabia coming to the Royal Rumble in 2026.
I was surprised that they were going to do Royal Rumble over there, but then again, most of these pay-per-views end up going to the highest bidder. So, they ended up getting it. I have been following the whole Saudi Arabia and WWE partnership and stuff like that. Like, I always enjoy the Saudi Arabia shows. I don't think of them as like I don't really take them serious, but I take them as fun little shows to be like, oh, this is so cool. You get to be like a fan watching it rather than trying to like review it. So Royal Rumble is going to be there as the first one. See, when they say 3 pay-per-views, that they get 3 pay-per-views, did no one decide to ask them, are they going to be 3 new pay-per-views, or are they going to be the same one because they have the other like Saudi specific shows like the King and Queen? No, they don't. I don't think the King and the Queen tournament is like a Saudi specific show, but I remember the other. I think that they already have like Saudi specific shows. So I don't know if they're gonna make new ones or just keep the other ones and just say it's 3 with Royal Rumble included. So it's a little like we need clarification.
Yeah, I think that's just a clarification as well.
There we go. In chat, Crown Jewel, Jerry. There we go. Thank you, Gio.
Jeffrey.
Yeah. Jeffrey. Yes. So sorry.
That's okay.
I was gonna call you Gio.
That's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I would think that we need like a little bit more clarification. Because I don't mind like Royal Rumble being over there to give them the experience and stuff like that. But like, does it include Royal Rumble, Crown Jewel, and then like something else, or are these like 3 new pay-per-views? I need clarification, guys.
Yeah, that's something to clarify as well, because they didn't say specifically, because of course we know the Royal Rumble is going to be there. And also reminding you, WWE and Saudi Arabia are still under that 10-year deal, which will expire in 2028. So there's a lot happening, but it's also a good opportunity for them, because if you saw some of the last pay-per-views that happened with Crown Jewel and King and Queen of the Ring, the fans were really ecstatic. Even they had an episode of Raw and SmackDown and Saudi Arabia, and the fans were very electric. So it's just for now, but we will be tuning in on the other pay-per-views as well. So, and it's also, Boza, I do agree that they are getting one of the big 4 pay-per-views just to see what it's going to look like, and it's happy to see that it will be the Royal Rumble. So I'm very excited to see, but there will be more details to come with Saudi Arabia. But passing on to other things, and I actually wanted to put this on there because this is going to be an interesting debate. So Sports Illustrated did something this past week. They ranked their top 10 WWE women's wrestlers in history. They did freestyle on the 10. They didn't put in like the qualifications, the criteria. They just kind of ranked the top 10 WWE women's wrestlers in history. So just going through the list, I will kick it off with number 10 with Alundra Blaze, or as people know her as Medusa. Number 9 is Bianca Belair. Number 8 is Asuka. Number 7 is Chyna. Number 6 is Bayley. Number 5, Sasha Banks. Number 4, Lita. Number 3, Trish Stratus. Number 2, Charlotte Flair. And cranking out number 1 is Becky Lynch. You got some words to say, Marie.
Yeah. The first thing I was gonna say is that I don't like this list. I don't.
See, our Cedric, he agrees.
Yeah, I don't like this list. Like, obviously lists are supposed to be meant for like very good debates about like, what if and what can, what don't, stuff like that. Because we don't have any like criteria to go on, I'm just like, you guys just put this out just for the sake of arguing Sports Illustrated. Like, you put this out for the sake of arguing, man. Cedric is right. At least give 15 rather than 10 or something.
15.
I would have Alundra Blaze a little bit higher just because of like her pioneering and like the matches that people didn't get to see because they weren't like born at that time. Like I'm a 90s baby, but like going back and watching her matches ahead of her time with the people that she was wrestling. I really like would think that should be a little bit higher. Bianca got to get up higher. Like, I like Bianca. Asuka got to get up higher too. Chyna to me is only a rough one, only because of like she won the Intercontinental Championship title, so like she held a men's title, but she was also like still groundbreaking to be the big muscle chick that will scare the guys and be with DX and stuff like that. But like at that time, it's like, you know, where exactly should we put her? We have like no criteria. So for me, China would be like somewhere in the middle between like 5, 6, or 7, just because. Bailey should be moved up a little bit. Lita and Trish, man, like they also held it down too. I'm a Charlotte Flair fan, so like I like her. I'm not a Becky Lynch fan. I'm sorry, guys, I'm not. Sasha Banks WWE is good. Mercedes Moné, like no, not for like AEW. But I will give props for the Sasha Banks. Yeah, if I had my way, I would just move Becky and like China and like almost everybody up. That's about it. Because like I said, China's a little bit too hard to be like, where can we actually put her? Even though she like did groundbreaking stuff. All these women did groundbreaking stuff. But Sports Illustrated, why are you giving us this list? It's only the end of February. Wait, when was this posted? Yeah, it's only the end of February, guys. What are you doing?
It is.
This is bullshit.
I just have to.
Like, yeah, it definitely worked, man. Like, you know, Jeffrey over here said, put this out with any thought. Like, yeah, without any thought. Like, the top 10 greatest WWE women's wrestlers of all time. I don't know, man. I don't like the list.
I have to put my 2 cents in it because I am okay with everybody having their opinion. However, I can tell, I mean, I'm not going to make assumptions or anything, but I can tell some people who did the list probably have not watched the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era, or as stuff way back on how women paved the way. I mean, sure, it might be to everybody's taste. And I can say this because I'm an early 90s baby, but I grew up, I miss the Attitude Era by that much, but I grew up in the Ruthless Aggression Era. So I saw that list, and it's no disrespect to anybody on that list, but I just think there should have been a lot more thought in this. And this is no disrespect to Alundra Blaze. She did it great. But if you're going to do a list, top 10, you got to put Sensational Sherry on that list. You have to put her in the top 10 because people tend to forget on what Sensational Sherry has done. And she's paved the way for so many women. And if you know who Shawn Michaels is, she played a huge role, not in the manager side, but in the wrestler. She beat the crap out of anybody. So I would put Sensational Sherry up in that top 10. I would definitely put China at number 5. Even with everything that's happened, you can't deny the way China has done. You cannot deny the impact that she has made because without her, you would not get women as like Awesome Kong, Beth Phoenix, Ripley, Bianca Belair, and even Victoria, because Victoria said in an interview where China actually convinced her to continue wrestling. And she said it many times. And I know, Jeffrey, it's crazy.
Jazz and Jacqueline.
There's just so much, and don't get me started with Jazz and Jacqueline because, and especially it's on Black History Month too. You only have two Black females on the list. I mean, come on, that's crazy. But those are definitely women that I definitely paved the way. And this is no disrespect at all, but Trish Stratus should have been number 1 if we're just going to be realistic because people don't realize how much Trish Stratus has been influential to a lot of women to today. And especially on how she started off as a fitness model and as a manager, but she really wanted to work her way into doing matches. And she was in very much incredible rivalries outside of Lita. Like she was with Jacqueline, she was with Jazz, she was with Victoria, Mickie James. She was involved with so many because if it wasn't for Trish Stratus, you would have not got Tiffany Stratton, Alexa Bliss, or even the Bella Twins. So you got to give credit it's due for Trish. And this is no disrespect to Becky and Charlotte and Sasha and everybody else, but Trish should be number 1. You need to have China at number 5. You got to put Sensational Sherry in the top 10. Like if you don't have Sensational Sherry in that top 10, it's just sad.
And by the way, fun fact for like any new listeners or any new people to wrestling, Sherry did Shawn Michaels' theme song. Like you can hear her singing the theme song. It's the greatest thing in like wrestling history.
Yes, it is. That's why I said, and it's a crime. And I tell people, like, come on, you don't have Sensational Sherry on that list. You don't have Miss Elizabeth in that top 10. That is very, very sad. So, Sports Illustrated, if you need any confirmation from women's wrestling, you can always reach out to WWT Live. That's why we do this, because we advocate for all the ladies in wrestling. We advocate for all of them. And speaking of that, we definitely want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, All Caribbean Wrestling. So we're going to take a quick break after this interesting discussion.
This episode of Women's Wrestling Talk has been brought to you by All Caribbean Wrestling. Catch the wave. Go to allcaribbeanwrestling.com to check out all the latest pay-per-views or go on the YouTube page of All Caribbean Wrestling. Also, go and check out their socials on Instagram at All Caribbean Wrestling and on X at All Caribbean WR1.
And we definitely want to shout out to all of our sponsor, All Caribbean Wrestling, for everything that they've done. As I mentioned, our boss lady and professor came back from their trip to All Caribbean Wrestling, and we look forward to hearing about everything that's happened next week and also getting ready for their show tomorrow. And Mackenzie Johnson, this is nothing personal. We're not hating on Becky. We love Becky, but we have to understand like who made the impact a lot. And this is no disrespect to like Becky or Charlotte or Sasha or any of the horsewomen, but you have to think like who paved the way for them. And also you have to respect the women that paved the way for today's generation. And that's something that even people that are starting to get into it and Sports Illustration need to realize it. You kind of have to respect the women that made an impact. So that's just my 2 cents on that. But it's interesting you brought up Mercedes because I mean,
dear me.
I know.
Dear me.
Well, thank God the mayor's not here, because literally it just would have been. But just a quick announcement. Mercedes Moné will be in Ontario, California on Friday, May 9th for New Japan Pro Wrestling's resurgence. We don't know what's going to happen there. It's going to be on Friday, May 9th. We just know that since she is the New Japan Strong Women's Champion, she is going to be there, but we don't know exactly what she's going to do or she's going to defend it, but she is making rounds because next month she'll be at House of Glory. April, she'll be at the UK. So Friday, she'll be representing New Japan. So she's going to be making her rounds. It's nice, and especially going to the promotion that's in partnership with the promotion that you're signing with right now. So, thoughts? I'm just
it's only because I am the professor of New Japan Pro Wrestling. That is my bread and butter. I've been just wanting better for New Japan Pro Wrestling. You know, I don't know how many hours we have about New Japan Pro Wrestling. Because I could just go on a tangent about New Japan at the moment. But yeah. I can't really disagree that she is making rounds. She is doing what she's doing with the New Japan Strong belt. But I mean, I just think it's time for someone else to get the belt. I just think that it's time for New Japan Pro Wrestling to like really make back in 2019 when they had New Japan Strong for like the weekly shows, that was the best way to build up an actual women's division for the stateside of Japan and New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I just wish they get back to the basics, but we don't have enough time for me to get into everything.
And actually, Boza put out a question for you, Marie, on your thoughts on Momo Watanabe getting her shot against Mercedes Moné next weekend at Revolution.
Do not hold your breath. I do not think that we are going to be having a title change. But it is kind of interesting just because we could still get some more story crossover, because Thekla is also in the group for hate, and she had a little thing with Athena. So maybe we get some like really good consistent story. But do not hold your breath if Momo Watanabe does not get the title.
Yeah, if Marie, I don't know if you know this, but people call me the elitist of all here because I'm the person that watches a lot of AEW. So you'll be hearing my bold predictions next weekend on Revolution.
Well, it's cool either way. I used to watch AEW, but then like I just fell off. It's just because I just want some like logic and some consistency. That's all I want, you know. Because I think it's very beneficial overall for wrestling to have multiple types of promotions that offer different types of flavors. But when you cannot get your identity like straightened out to be like AEW, this is what we are, right? Because their mantra was, let's change the world. And I was like, yes, I'm on board for that. Let's go change the world. Let's go do something different. And then it fell off. And then now they have to try to find something. And all I want them to do is find something, succeed, and still stay within the ecosystem of the wrestling business with WWE, MLW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, GCW, and even your sponsors as well. I want everybody to thrive. But if you're not trying to thrive, then like, I don't know, man. Like, listen, like I said, we could be here for like 2 hours, 3 hours, or one night.
We could be for this, but I just will say this because, for me, because I started watching it AEW in 2022. I started watching it, but for me, and I do a watch along every week, so this is really something that's really interesting to do, and I want them to thrive. But the problem I always have is like their storylines. They have to be consistent. They have to have stability. They got to figure out who their pillars are in their men's, women's, and tag team division. And speaking, because we talked about Mercedes earlier, I mean, we're going to go with a person who has been the focal point of Miss CEO. Our wonderful mayor has joined the chat.
Cedric, it's been forever, buddy.
How you doing? I'm sorry I'm late. I've been tardy a couple times this week. My apologies, guys. Traffic out here is just nasty. In the
Traffic.
Well, it's so ironic because we were just talking about.
I didn't even change for this. Like this is raw from the gym. Normally I change, put on a different shirt. I had to come here right away.
We were just talking about Mercedes because she's going to be at New Japan. Well, New Japan on a promotion in California in May. Are you going to go or what? Like, are you going to go?
So guess what?
What?
That's across the street.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I will be there. Thankfully, the benefit of this partnership I have with Women's Wrestling Talk, I've been at the last two resurgences. TK and I went to the one in Long Beach at the Pyramid. The resurgence was in Ontario last year as well. And I believe, I forget who Mox took on that card. I believe Stephanie Victoria was on that card. Very good card. I did get content of that card. So yes, I will be at the New Japan in Ontario as well. It's a really dope show. So if you're in the area, the Toyota Arena is a very intimate setting. There's not a bad seat in the house. And New Japan puts on a very good show.
Yeah, indeed. And also, before we talk about Sports Illustrated, I just want to get your quick thoughts on SmackDown tonight. Because as I mentioned, Nick Aldis made the announcement earlier, there is going to be a number one contenders for the United States title. So just want to get your thoughts on that. And what are you looking forward to tonight's SmackDown, the final one before Elimination Chamber tomorrow night?
They are scrambling because I know I shout out the group chat. What was forecasted for the show originally, and then we get the announcements about the United States Championship. I think everybody is I think we're trying to pop a rating with some good matches tonight because I think everybody is like on their hands waiting to see if a soul is getting sold tomorrow. I think that is like dominating wrestling fans' minds. Even Elimination Chamber is being overshadowed by all the Dwayne ads now. As far as like, hey, we have a whole segment to see if somebody's going to sell their soul. So I hope SmackDown is good. I like the content. I like the fact that we're actually investing into the United States title picture. I think Shinsuke was announced for a match and then it got pulled. And I wish I didn't read this on Twitter, but I think there was like a family issue he's having. He had a recent passing. I don't even like to find out stuff like that. It should be private. But condolences to Shinsuke if that's the case. But I like that we're actually investing into that title picture, because it seems like we're doing the same thing with Braun Breaker now. As we get into the beginning of the season, we have a treasure chest of challengers, and it should be the same way on SmackDown. I mean, I feel like I see Andrade fitness pictures like every week now. I see that on television.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's revenge body, but I mean, you never know.
I mean,
we all seen it. It probably is.
So I mean, but having Melo in that picture, LA Knight, some of the others, I think it just makes perfect sense. You know what? I'm actually, I think this got like poo-pooed on last week. Melo don't Miz. That's dope.
Yeah,
that's dope.
Yeah, that was a cool tag team.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna, if they run with that, I think that's gonna boost Melo's profile so much. I think everything that Miz touch turns to gold, like it just happens over time. I think he needs that. I love that. So if we're doing that, I mean, I think it's going to be a really good SmackDown. I think there's been some ups and downs over it being 3 hours. They can fill out the show better. So just put on good matches.
Yeah, I think that's something they need to do, especially since it's the final one before Elimination Chamber tomorrow. So I would like, me and Marie talked about this earlier, but I would like to see Carmelo Hayes get an opportunity for singles gold. It's time. It's time for him to at least get a shot at the US belt. But we go from SmackDown, and we talked about this to Sports Illustrated, their top 10 women. Your thoughts? Because you have the floor, sir. So say what you have to say.
So I'll qualify this because Marie made a great point. We don't know the criteria for the list. And usually when you say greatest of all time, I immediately think of like basketball, football, boxing, things like that. And my biggest criteria is longevity and impact. If we're going longevity and impact, then Trish should be number one. Because this is 25 years of Stratus. Ain't nobody, we have yet to see anybody else do that and be able to perform in their 25th year or anything like that. Trish was the first woman in main event on Monday Night Raw. Gave us a full year run a couple years ago where she did a freaking Hell in a Cell. They wasn't doing that in her era. Longevity. Aside from titles, accolades, main events, gates, money, things like that, that matters to me. And then I think about how you boost women's wrestling as a whole. And then, of course, all four horsewomen hold claim to that because they've helped build the profile of what it means to be a women's wrestler, from not just having appearance, but also putting on great matches, main events, titles, accolades. So for that, I think Sasha was 5. But I think I'm going to give you the same argument I had for the Shield debate with Dean Ambrose. When you do it on multiple continents and you're helping boost the profile globally, I think that ranks higher at the end of the career than what Becky and Charlotte have done. That's just me. But also, but I wouldn't put Mercedes number 2. I think it's very hard for me when it's all said and done, when you look at the profile of what a women's wrestler should be and say Bianca Belair is not the GOAT. It's very hard for me to not say that. When you're talking about somebody that can do every single style of what a professional wrestler does, and she does everything well, from power to athleticism to high flyer to selling. I think she does everything well. Whenever she decides to hang it up, I think you'll look back and, like the same way we look at Shawn Michaels as the blueprint of like storytelling and match work, I think you're going to look at Bianca Belair the exact same way once her career is done. So it would be very hard for me to say she can't be as high as number 2. Now, does she have, well, she has the first, well, not the first, but she has a woman singles main event with Sasha. She's not the first women's main event. Of course, that's Becky and Charlotte. And of course, Becky kind of jumped into mainstream like nobody else. But I just think about the style of wrestling, and I think she's undeniable at a certain point, especially if the WrestleMania undefeated streak continues. That would be my only changes. I think the China thing is good because she impact as well, but she would round out like the bottom half of the 10 for me, just because the longevity in the sport's not there. But also, I heard you mention Sensational Sherry. I was like, I think about people like Bull Nakano. Why is she not?
Yeah, Bull Nakano
on the list. I think about stuff like that. I think about other Trailblazers as well. I think Alundra Blaze is like a credit to the Trailblazers, but you can poke holes in it. without knowing the exact criteria. But to me, longevity is at the top of the board, and for that's why I say you can't front on Trish, man. I know it looked a little different in the 2000s era versus now, but if she's still doing it, I don't think anybody else gonna do it 25 years. I'm just saying. I don't think anybody else is.
Well, she's still doing it. I mean, you can't deny that. And as I mentioned earlier, like if it wasn't for Trish, you would not get women like Tiffany Stratton, Alexa Bliss, Nikki and Brie Bella, because they mentioned they idolized Trish for years. So that's something to really think about. And longevity is key. So I think that's something when people do stuff like this, they have to think about the longevity and the impact that's made. So. And also, Mare, I just want to get your thoughts because we talked about this earlier. Stephanie McMahon is having a podcast, and just want to get your thoughts on that because we know she's having a show on ESPN. She's also tapping into doing a podcast.
I think it's good PR. The McMahon family has not been a very popular name as of late, if you're following like the political scene. So I don't know what the content will be on, but if it's anything involving Stephanie, I know it's usually forward thinking to help women's wrestling. So I think it'll be a good thing overall.
Yeah.
But it's good PR because from what her mama doing, she needs to,
listen, they need all the PR. Look, they need all the PR can get because this bad PR ain't going away. So they need something that needs to leverage on. But we'll see what happens, what Miss Stephanie has to say in our podcast. But of course, we talked about Mercedes Moné coming to Ontario, California in May. And we do have some TNA news where
I understood you, special little nobody. You're saying this list has recency bias. I get it. Rest of bias, but I understand what you meant.
Really. But anyways, just quickly on some TNA news. We found out Elijah, or as we know as Elias, has officially signed to the TNA roster. TNA put out the news on their official social channels. He's now official. He's with the roster. And just wanted to get your quick thoughts on how you feel and who do you think he should face first, and just how do you feel him coming back to TNA?
We're going to have concerts every night with him and Joe Hendry. They're probably going to try to one-up each other, and that might be the first feud. The Battle of the Guitarists. That's about it.
I'm looking at the way it boosted Joe Hendry's profile, and I'm going to say I'm going to say AJ Francis. It has the perfect antithesis that you want to boo regardless of what. I looked at what it did for Joe Hendry, and I think that would be perfect for Elijah to start off if they're going the babyface route for him and not the heel route.
Indeed, that's going to be something to really think about. And also, I'm excited to see him back on television on TNA. But like I said, I just want him and Joe Hendry do like a duet concert together. That's all I want. Just have them both play guitar and sing, and also face him on some new opponents. I would love for him to be one-on-one with Nick Nemeth, along with so many others. So we shall see what Mr. Elias has to say, and he is going to be a treat. But we had an interesting debate in our chat today because WWE released their 50 greatest WrestleMania matches countdown so far. WWE has started this, and so far, number 50 is Seth Rollins versus Cody. Number 49 is Triple H versus Sting. And we just found out number 48 is John Cena versus The Rock. So far, this is like their 50 greatest WrestleMania matches, but just wanted to get your quick thoughts on this because this could be an interesting debate and also an interesting one on who's going to be number one on their end.
Why are people starting like drama so early with these lists? Like, I don't understand. Like, you're gonna put Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes as number 50? Triple H versus Sting, I could understand because that one was like Oh, what the hell? You know, I had fun watching it, but I was like, what are we doing here, guys? And then you said 48 was John Cena versus The Rock.
The Rock, yeah.
That got to be higher. Like, if that can't crack top 25, that leaves so much anticipation.
It does. It really does. This is why I said they're probably starting drama so early for no reason. What are we doing here with all these lists? Who's making them?
Well, for this one is I don't know who it is from WWE, but they're making this list. But it should have been ranked higher because if you remember the promo that The Rock and Cena did, the build up leading up to their match, that was
and I
just
recall Triple H versus Sting being trash. Maybe I'm tripping, but I don't know how that makes the list of all time.
I don't even know either.
I mean, it's a number 49, so I mean, it could stay there. But Seth Rollins versus Cody got to be higher. Like, someone got to fire the intern. This has to be an intern. that did the list. Has to be an intern.
If Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker Part 1 isn't number 1, we've missed the lead here.
That's going to be interesting because I'm very curious on how this list is going to go. I just hope not the guys, but I would like to see if they add any women's lists to that WrestleManias because there were some pretty good women's matches on WrestleMania.
If not, like I said, fire the intern.
Well, we shall see what WWE has to offer because they just started this and it's just the anticipation of the countdown is going to be really interesting and there's going to be a lot of debates on specific matches and their rankings.
Mm-hmm.
Mary, you were going to say something? Did you have any thoughts?
Oh no, I was just reading the comments. I think Jeffrey was asking which one. Rock versus Cena. We're talking about the Miami one.
Yes.
Yeah,
Miami.
we're talking about 28.
Yeah,
29 wasn't bad either, but
I
don't know. I was at 29. It was cold as hell, so I don't have fond memories. But,
like I'm shivering. What is this? Turn up the heat.
Well, hopefully for this one, it won't be too cold since it's in Vegas in April. It won't be too cold.
Yeah.
So it should not be. But just wrapping up here, on Monday, we talked about Lex Luger, where he was able to walk for the first time, thanks to help from DDP. He was on Chris Van Vliet's podcast yesterday, and he talked a little bit during his time, and it has been confirmed that he's under a WWE Legends deal. So he has really been confirmed on that, and that's a huge step for him. And just wanted to get your quick thoughts on how you feel on Lex Luger taking the WWE Legends deal.
I mean, he deserves it. Good on him. I have yet to watch the interview. I haven't gotten around to it, but yeah, that's awesome for him to take it.
Yeah, very, very well deserved. He's a big part of WWE history, and he should be recognized as such. I mean, what bigger moment was there, I think, early 90s than him jumping off the plane in the hangar and going to body slam Yokozuna? Like, that kind of started his trajectory as being one of the next faces of the company. So I think him being recognized and us being able to call back to some of those moments that he had. What did they used to call him? They used to call him like the American Train. I forget what they used to call him.
Something like that.
The American Express.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Lex Express.
They can call back all that stuff. Like when we actually had a comprehensive WWE network to have us go back in history. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, indeed. I'm very happy for Lex Luger because it's been a very inspiring week for him. Learning how to walk again, being on a podcast, getting a WWE Legends deal. So definitely wish him the best of luck with Lex
DDP
Luger.
and Yoga out here doing God's work.
Yeah,
yes, he is.
God.
He's been doing a lot of work.
I need to get the DVDs.
You have to. He's been doing so much work for Bam Bam Bigelow, Jake the Snake, Dr. Britt Baker, Bam. I forgot his name. Oh God. It was from an MTV show, but it'll come to me. But yeah.
Bam Margera?
Yeah. Bam Margera, yeah.
Yep. Margera, because he was with Johnny TV and Darby Allin. They were all at his yoga studio. So he is doing the God's work. He's doing the work. And kudos to him. and very, very proud. But we all know tomorrow is Elimination Chamber. And we wanted to at least end it with bold predictions. Mm-hmm. So we are going to start off with the Elimination Chamber, but we're going to start off with the unsanctioned match between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Mayor, who do you have? Sami or Kevin?
I wish I had the clip, but I mean, I'm taking Kevin. Sami going to the upper room. Y'all think we're gonna get to see this match at Mania? We're not. Sami's going to the upper room. He not coming back until this 2-night SummerSlam.
Marie, your thoughts? Kevin or Sami?
That's a very interesting take, Cedric, that he's not going to come back to SummerSlam. And if it happens, I got to be like, oh, he was right. I'm going with Kevin though. I've seen these two battles so many times in the past and been to their matches live when Ring of Honor was good and was alive and thriving. But yeah, I'm just going with Kevin because I just don't really like Sami like that.
He's in a weird limbo.
He is, yeah.
I thought he was going to get the push over to get title shots at the big title. Then he didn't. Then they had him just losing to Drew obsessively. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, you need to go home for a bit.
Yeah, I got it. Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
That was the other one, the total package.
Yeah, total pack. Sami is just one of those people I have loved the last couple years, and Kevin, and I said this on Monday, Kevin and Sami, it's like the storyline that never ends. It's the rivalry that's not going to end. They're still going to fight each other. Just fight forever for all I care. I'm going to go with Kevin Owens because there's a guy waiting for Kevin, and his name is Randy Orton. And for Sami, if he loses, he's got Karrion Kross waiting for him on Raw. So I'm picking Kevin Owens for this match. That is who I'm picking. And we've been talking about Trish a lot. It is tag team action, and Trish is back in her hometown. Her and Tiffany Stratton taking on Nia Jax and my poison little pixie, Candice LeRae. Marie, who do you have in this match? Who do you think is going to win in this tag team match?
I want Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus to win. As much as I like Nia and I appreciate Candice, but I want Tiffany and Trish to win. Obviously, they became the fan favorite, not too long ago. To me, they look like sisters. I'm pulling for Tiffany and Trish.
Mary, your thoughts?
I love that Trish is getting a match in her homeland, but I'm going to go with Nia and Candice just because I think the story they're telling is very interesting with Charlotte. Is that we see Tiffy on her back every time, and it's like this lingering cloud of Charlotte just right there every time. I think we're going to get to see another image of that to paint Tiffany as this ultimate underdog type of thing against this dark cloud that is Charlotte Flair. Everybody thinks that she's going to Hogan it and be like, hey, the title's mine. So I think while it's nice that the hometown person is going to get a good ovation, same with Sami and Kevin, I think the heels win.
Jeffrey, Courtney, tell Kansas to keep her poison at home. I can't tell her that. I mean, as much as I'm happy to see Kansas on TV time and pay-per-view.
Speed champion.
I know she is a speed champion, but I got to go with Trish and Tiffy. Trish was one of the first women I've watched on TV, so it's nice to see her at her hometown doing what she loves. But also, she is still supposed to pick with Nia because I have a feeling her and Nia Jax are going to have a match at WrestleMania. Because if you saw that Nia eliminated her and Candice eliminated Trish at the Royal Rumble. So I could see something happening between those two. Yeah, I could see those two having a match if that happens. But I'm going to pick Tiffany and Trish Stratus to win.
Let me ask y'all something about Nia, because I mean, this is I was reading into this maybe too much during their championship match about a week ago or so. I don't think I've ever seen Nia sell for somebody like she was doing for Tiffany Stratton in that match. it was almost cartoonish, where it didn't even look like Tiffany had the power moves in their arsenal like that. And I'm like, damn, they're really trying to make you believe, to me at least, that she can overcome.
Yeah.
I would have to rewatch the match and then watch it with that in my mind. Because, I mean, yeah, lately it does seem like Nia has been like a little bit overselling, but she's also been like really super safe too with whoever she's in the ring with now. So it can sort of translate to like looking as if like, you know, to be overly selling. But I would have to like really look at the match again. But that's like my only like
I
2
think
cents for it.
I think Tiffany did like a pounce Sanaya, and I'm like, that's no. My mind immediately went like, no, hell no. But Nia sold it, and I'm just like, oh. Then they backed it on the commentary. I'm like, okay, I guess I have to accept this. But all right.
You really don't have to accept it, but I get it.
I mean, yeah, I got to go back and watch that match too. I have to replay that in my mind, thinking, oh, that really did happen. But we already picked our winners for the tag team match. Also, well, Elimination Chamber. We'll go with the men's first for the Elimination Chamber match. We have Damian Priest, Logan Paul, Seth freaking Rollins, Drew McIntyre, John Cena, and CM Punk. Mayor, who do you got winning this?
That's a tough field. You say bold. And to me, I've been thinking Cena all week and how it makes so much sense. So I'm going to pick Punk. I'm going to pick Punk. I think somehow Punk pulls it out, and maybe that favor is something else when it comes to it.
That's true. We still don't know about the favor.
Yeah.
So I would like the last 3 in the elimination chamber to be either Drew, Cena, or Punk, because it would be kind of interesting for Punk to win and go to WrestleMania and like have like some type of WrestleMania match, right? Because even if like The Rock doesn't get, you know, a main event at, you know, WrestleMania, CM Punk did say that The Rock has stolen main events from him at WrestleMania, stuff like that he had to move over and stuff. So there's a lot of like history between like all these men here and then everyone that's coming back. I still believe in John Cena for his whole entire retirement tour. And then Drew has been doing very well on social media and like talking all his stuff. And it'll be interesting for him to win this so he could talk some more shit. You know, he could just talk some more. However, I think it'll be interesting if Cena does win it, even though he would be the obvious choice. But then my actual pick would want to be Drew. And then once we get to Cody and Rock, I'll come back to my theory about what happens if Cena wins. So
yeah, Drew can't keep being the bridesmaid.
Yeah, he can't. Yeah. So my pick would be Drew, but like I said, yeah.
Another bold prediction, I think. I think Logan Paul is either in the final 3 or final 4.
We'll see.
It's very ironic we were talking about this because it's very hard because a lot of people are picking Punk, a lot of people are picking Cena, some people are going in, but I'm picking Drew McIntyre to win. Drew has really impressed me this past year with his social posts, with his like teasing and everything he's done, especially when he had a promo with Cody on SmackDown. I'm like, okay, these two need to face off against each other. And Drew has really started to improve and starting to be one of the top guys in this business. And I feel like it's time for him to get back in the main event picture. So I will pick Drew, but also I do have a bold prediction because Logan Paul has a history of screwing people in the chamber. I think he's going to screw CM Punk in the chamber.
If he does, he won't survive and he won't come back to WWE. CM Punk would definitely like annihilate him like he did on the mic Monday Night Raw.
Yep, that's the thing because the last 2 times he was in the chamber, he screwed. Like last year, he screwed Randy Orton. So that's who I'm picking, Drew McIntyre to win. And also, I believe Logan Paul is going to screw CM Punk. But we shall see with tomorrow. But also, we have the women's Elimination Chamber match. Roxanne Perez, Bayley, Naomi, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, and Alexa Bliss.
I guess I'll start. I just want Roxanne to win, just to see what kind of chaos she can cause, and like going back to NXT and be like, I won the Elimination Chamber. Let's see how that works out. I do think that there should be a stipulation of like, if you're a champion, you shouldn't get a qualifier match to be in the Elimination Chamber, because I think that like it's just holding the belt. You're not having a match, but I do think that like if people are champions, they should not have a qualifier match. But I'll just go with Roxanne just because I want the chaos.
Mayor, who do you got winning the women's Elimination Chamber?
The funny thing is the betting odds favorite is Bianca Belair by a landslide. And if you guys are out there sports betting on a scripted program, go call the number. Call the number and stop that. Get some help. I want to say Bianca because I think it's a great time to pull the trigger on Bianca and Rhea, but also I don't see the storytelling there that you would want to do for a match of that magnitude. So I'm actually going with Roxanne. You want bold? I'm going with Roxanne. I'm pulling the trigger on that just because you can tell a great story with her building all these gradual accolades just with appearing on the main roster the brief time she has. And then you kind of can tell a good storyline as well with her having to stand toe-to-toe with Rhea in this kind of David versus Goliath scenario. People have made Rhea, or not people, the company has made Rhea this kind of unbeatable thing, and Roxanne continues to beat the odds. I think it tells a great story either way. So, Roxanne Perez.
Oh, Roxy. This was a hard one for me to pick because there's many factors in it. I don't see Alexa Bliss winning because she just came back. I don't want that to ruin her momentum. I don't see Liv Morgan winning it considering she won the tag team titles on Monday. And I don't see Bayley or Naomi winning this. So I would love to see Roxanne win. I would love for her to really shine in a way because I remember when she first started on NXT and the growth and everything happening now. But I am going to go with Bianca Belair winning this. And also because Monday, the next day, Rhea has a match against Io Sky. So that could go either way, and that'll be really interesting to watch that championship match. And also with the fact if Io wins, that could be interesting with her and Bianca considering Io has pinned her before. But I'm picking Bianca Belair to win the Elimination Chamber.
I keep forgetting about that match against EO, which it should be a 50-50 match. I think there's a lot of deserving of EO to go into Mania as champion.
Yeah, agreed. But we shall see because Elimination Chamber is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. tomorrow? 7 p.m. on the East Coast. I'm not sure if we're doing a watch along tomorrow.
Cut the check, TK.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know if we're doing a watch along tomorrow, but just to let you know, it'll be 7 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow on Peacock. So you do not want to miss it in Toronto, Canada. And also, we forgot one more thing. And Marie, you had a theory on this.
Oh, well.
Will Cody say yes to The Rock's offer? Will he sell his soul?
I am going to say no, just given Cody's history, and then even though all of us want him to like turn heel, I want him to turn heel. So he had like, I came up with this thing of like, do we either get like Homelander Cody or do we get corporate Cody, right? So if he goes towards yes with The Rock, he'll be the person to like, do everything that The Rock says, do whatever, right? So The Rock is controlling him versus like Homelander. We still get like the Cody that we have now that's slowly turning thanks to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and all these like bumps in the road and stuff that he's doing on his own. But Cody Rhodes did say that he doesn't have a heel bone in his body. So I think he's going to stay the course. to where he does what he wants to do. So he'll be like the Homelander Cody and be like, "Oh, F off, Rock. Like I don't want that." So let's go back to my prediction for the Elimination Chamber. If John Cena wins, how crazy would it be to be like, Rock, I'll take you up on that offer, so he could finally get everything that he wanted for his retirement tour and get that 17-time championship title, and then be like, I'm out. It'll be like the biggest swerve. Like no one will see that coming in a way. Well, now they will because I said it. But like, you know,
that would be the biggest tease. That would piss me off. That would be the biggest tease by John. It's like, you just gonna give me this and retire? But he did say he would still be there in some capacity, just not working. So
yeah, I mean,
matches. So it could work.
It could work because like The Rock could send him here, send him there, do media press tour, do whatever he wants to do, and he'll follow The Rock. And then at the end, we're probably, I don't think that we should get a John Cena versus The Rock again. We're not doing that, but he can get the belt and then sail off into the sunset.
That would be an interesting turn.
Yeah,
that would be very interesting. And also with the fact, I just can't see. I'm gonna say no. He's gonna say no for tomorrow, but I think somewhere down the line he's gonna accept it because not the Homelander heel Cody, but I don't know why it's giving me vibes of like the corporation back in like 1999. Like back in 1999, in that corporation, it's like Rock is trying to be like how Vince was.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He was like the Rock as corporate champion. So I do think Cody's gonna say no.
Yeah,
but I figured somewhere down the line he'll probably rethink about that deal.
I can see that happening too because you could also play it to Cody and be like, bro, you're gonna need friends one of these days, man. Everyone keeps turning on you because you have such a history of like jumping from this person to that person and this issue to that issue. Nobody wants to trust you anymore. How can they trust you? So you only could trust me, aka The Rock, the final boss. Bam, and then he'll be like, all right, fine, I'll take it. Yeah, that'd be the way to go.
I think Cody says no because we're doing the whole legacy thing. He just pretty much talked about his whole family lineage in his most recent promo. And here's why I picked CM Punk to win the chamber. And if Cody says no, I think CM Punk calls in the favor to Paul to get him a meeting with the final boss to take that offer. Because he's been so hell-bent on this Mania moment, this WrestleMania main event. Oh. And I don't think it stops there. I think he wants to ensure that WrestleMania main event leaves with him on top. And Punk is one of those guys that he's going to be beloved regardless, especially in Chicago. But I think he's good at tweening as well. So he can take those great promos he's doing and turn right on the crowd, and people will be eating it all up still. I think that's how you tie in them together with the favor if Cody says no. Because remember, Punk said he's not sneaking up on Cody. He said, I'm coming straight towards you.
Yep. He did say that in the promo that they had together.
I like that. If that happens, it's going to be a damn good ride. Only because, then people will be like, oh, we always knew CM Punk would be a sellout. Everything that he's ever said and fought against, this is his one chance to get something, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, yeah.
It'll back up everything the internet's saying is like he's in himself and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I mean,
yeah, why not? Yeah.
I mean, okay. I mean, you say he's in it for the money. He's in it for the exposure. Okay.
Remember, what's funny, what made me think about that is like everybody's like, oh yeah, Cody was at the Moana too. It's like, yeah, CM Punk was there too.
Oh, he was? I didn't see him in the picture. So I didn't
he has a picture with The Rock too at the Moana too.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Wow. Oh my God.
Wow, that's really interesting. But I mean, who knows what's gonna happen tomorrow? But Cody has to make an answer, but of course we're going to see him tonight on SmackDown where he has to say it. Elimination Chamber is happening tomorrow night at 7 p.m. on the East Coast in Toronto, Canada, and it's going to continue on the road to WrestleMania.
I got one more question for y'all before we get up out of here.
Okay.
Jade Cargill is now cleared for in-ring activities. Do we see her tonight or tomorrow?
I see her tomorrow.
See, when we were talking about the women's Chambers match, I thought that because you mentioned for Bianca to like win, even though that wasn't your pick, I was thinking that you were gonna probably say like, oh, this starts, the feud between Bianca and Naomi, and here comes Jade to come in and like, be inserted. So maybe she shows up tomorrow. That's what I thought you were gonna go with. I was like, is he gonna mention Jade? You didn't mention Jade yet.
Well, because I think Bianca and Naomi both did it.
Interesting.
So I don't know how we get there, but
it's gonna be interesting because he mentioned in the video that he saw some furry boots in the background when Jade was attacked.
The only one that got furry boots, but I think Bianca has more motivation to do it than Naomi.
I mean, that will be interesting. She shows up tomorrow and maybe like interferes and like maybe not.
I feel like if that happens, that's how we fast track the whole Roxanne thing too. It gives her kind of an out, the same way she was able to beat Raquel Rodriguez.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. That's an interesting thought. But we may see Jay tomorrow because, as I mentioned, Elimination Chambers tomorrow in Toronto. The road to WrestleMania is starting to heat up tomorrow. And we're going to get you ready for SmackDown on this Friday edition of WWT Live. But before we head out, we will share with you on how you can follow us on all social channels. And I'll go with ladies first. Marie, where can they find you on the social channels?
Well, I'm practically everywhere because, I have a lot of links. But the quickest way to just follow me is on youtube.com/Square Circle Podcast. Square Circle Podcast across all podcasting platforms. And if you go over to my Twitter account @Marie_Shadows, there is a link. Campsite.bio/Marie Shadows that has all of my links, including my wrestling planner, all new merch, and memberships that I offer. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Mare, where can the people find you?
I don't want to be found. I don't want your follows. I'll be around here, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. I do Monday Night Mare watch along for Monday Night Raw. I do owe you guys a post show. I keep my word. I did not forget. I finally finished Monday Night Raw. I don't think we had an NXT one either, so maybe I'll give you guys a 2-for-1 tomorrow morning. We'll see. I'll see if the boss lady wants that. But you see my socials here. Ced says on Twitter. Ced is the answer on the gram. Cedric D. Welton's a website for everything else I do with journalism. Make sure you follow all our creators here. I think we have the Kayfabe podcast on Saturdays now. We have a bunch of watch-alongs that we do here and a bunch of interviews and a lot of cool things coming up with sponsorships as well.
Well, they can always find me here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on WWT Live. Wednesdays, I do my watch-along for AEW Dynamite. And as I mentioned on Wednesday, they are on a mini tour around California. So if you are near some of the cities, feel free to check them out on Dynamite, Collision. I heard Ring of Honor shows are going to be there with Revolution. So it is a good opportunity to see what they're doing. I'm always doing it Wednesday. I am pulling double duty today because I'll be doing a watch on for SmackDown. So you can always hang out with me on the final SmackDown before Elimination Chamber. You can also follow me on all my Twitter account on @CourtneyNJ11 on Twitter and Instagram, where you can follow everything that I do from the pageant world to the PR world, everything in between, and do have some stuff happening in the next couple weeks. But we do want to thank you guys here on Wednesday. Friday. It's been a long week. It's been a very long week. It is Friday, but we definitely want to thank everybody. Jeffrey, Boza, Special Little Nobodies, all of you. Our WWT sister Honey hopped on the chat. So we definitely want to thank all of you for joining and see you on SmackDown. And thanks for joining us on Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. And have a wonderful evening.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.